Hey, if you want to, once again, have a seat, chill. We gotta get through the mental side. First things first, homework. Who did the homework?
Who wasn't here?
Okay.
Everybody. Who wasn't
All right.
And-
So we all have our schedule.
Yes,
right?
sir.
Okay, I will be checking everyone's schedule today. Okay, I'll be checking everybody's schedule today. I want to see what it takes for you to be successful. Okay, if we stay in tune with that schedule, we know it's going to be great. Today we're going to talk about this: guilty by association or product by elevation, which practically breaks down to who you surround yourself with. Within a power schedule, we know for a fact that we have to do certain things to be successful. We know we got to go to the gym, we got to take care of our chores, we got to do all those things. However, when it comes down to how we handle the rest of our day or who we surround ourselves with, it's a real important thing that you put yourself around the right people. So today's lesson, we'll come with some stories. I'm not going to put names to them, but there's also going to come with some other stuff that's going to pertain to how you should know and recognize who you're surrounding yourself with and what you should do about that. So, first things first, you know for a 100% fact if you're trying to elevate your grade and you want to make it better, you should not study with someone that's failed. Everyone gets that, right? So, in the quick spin of this, why would you only practice with somebody or people maybe that are not as successful in baseball? Why would you? You can learn from their mistakes. What else? There's one more thing I was looking at. You try to make them better, right? You be a good leader. But that's the only reason. You're not going to get better with your skill based off of that too much. You're going to only gain leadership qualities and traits and maybe pick up one or two of the things you can learn visually. But outside of that, you're not going to help yourself by spending a lot of time doing that, right? So that would be pretty much, you surround yourself with people that are not maybe as, talented and or practicing with kids that are not as talented. That can hurt you, okay? It can hurt you. That's why everyone should be working on their game. Everyone should be working on how to get better. All right? Now, if you surround yourself with a coach, ready? Let's say that you surround yourself with Coach Taz. He's an infield technician and a hitting coach. Are you going to get better if you surround yourself with him more? Absolutely. Okay? If you get surrounded by Coach Hickey because you need to learn more about pitching, catching, and hitting, yeah, for sure. I got you. Okay? And the more you surround yourself with me, you're going to find that I speak about all sorts of things pertaining to life and baseball all the time. I talk about it. Look, I got kids that'll ride the car with me for 4 hours sometimes to go play somewhere, and they're like, man, you just talk about this all day long. All day long. I can talk about I love this stuff. But that's what it takes. You have to put yourself around people that are going to elevate you, okay? Not knock you down. So guilty by association. I'm going to tell you a story. This is probably one of my favorite stories to tell. I'm not going to say any names. However, I just want to give you an example of how fast this can go south. If you ever wanted to figure out how much trouble you can get into quick, hang out with somebody that'll stir you up. Works really, really fast. So there was a kid that was hanging out with another kid one day, and they decided that they were going to take their mom's minivan, okay, which is not very appealing as it is, I'm sure. But they were going to take the one kid was like, we'll take my mom's minivan. And the other kid says, bro, you ain't even got a license. You can't even legally drive. We should not do that. And he said, no, she won't know. She won't find out. And the other dude says, all right, well, I guess we'll just roll. Let's go. Right? Both get in the minivan. They go and leave the neighborhood. They go underneath the light as it turns red. And guess what happens? Here comes the cops. Okay, you just broke the law, not once, now twice. All right? You go underneath the light, the cop hits their light, they go to pull over the minivan, the one guy panics, which is the driver. While the other guy's like, pull over. And his buddy says, I'm not pulling over, I'm not going to jail, and I'm not getting in trouble for my mom today. Now you have what we call is a chase, a cop car chase. Now we're speeding through the neighborhood going, I'm sure 60, 70, 80 miles an hour, and you're just busting through these turns. Could have killed 10 kids, could have had massive issues, ran to a house. You don't ever know what could have happened from there. One buddy says, please pull over, please. Now how many cop cars are behind them? 5. Probably 10. Maybe more by now. Because now you got a real situation on your hands. And all this was a decision to do what? To just go over to the other buddy's house, take the mom's minivan. That's all it was. And now the guy decides to pull over. 2 kids get ripped out of the car. Now they're held at gunpoint by the police because now there's suspicion as to why would you be running, right? Now you got yourself in a whole bigger mess. Well, you could possibly get shot. Everybody see how that works? All over something so stupid. They get locked up, get sent down to the pen for just, an overnighter kind of stay. And parents have to come in, bail them out. And now, not only did you get arrested, but now your mom found out. And your buddy that was in the passenger seat, did he do anything wrong? No. But he did. He didn't do anything wrong, but he did, because he got in the car. He knew better. He knew better. Now, how many of you have made a decision that was guilty by association? How many of you have done that before? I know I have. Coach, have you? I know I have. And you should learn by these experiences. You're going to find that this template is going to be something very real for the rest of your life. Now, I'm going to give you another one. Okay, and this is not a story, but this is a good example. There's somebody at work. Okay, somebody at work, and let's say they have a job that pertains to doing paperwork. The one buddy that they have is like, hey, we can do that paperwork on Friday. We ain't got to do it today. And you're like, well, the boss said we need to get it done by Thursday. Instead, the one other buddy says, no, we go hold. Next thing you know, boss comes in, right? Says, where's the paperwork? Oh, it's not done. He said that it'd get done until Friday. No, it can't be. Now you just lost your job. You see how that influence can change stuff immediately? Now, I'm going to flip over to a positive schematic to this, okay? It's been said before, if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong place. If you think you know everything about something, then you're wrong, okay? You can always learn a lot from a lot of people, but surround yourself with people that will elevate your performance in everything that you do, okay? If you constantly are like, well, I need to go ahead and get better at baseball training, and I picked on the Planet Fitness thing, right? I picked on that, the YMCA, I picked on that before, okay? But I'm going to go ahead and let's just pick on somewhere else. Let's just say you and your buddy were like, hey, I'm going to go ahead and I want to go to Pivotal, okay? That's where we're going to go, or Crunch. But we're going to go work out together. And once again, your buddy is not really going to elevate your performance in the game. I'm not saying working out is bad, but what I'm saying is that's not the best angle, right, for you to elevate your performance to get better. Okay? Everybody understand how it works? So from this point on, we got to figure out how we're going to do that. How are we going to attach ourselves to other people that are going to bring up our game? There's some players that think, which I'll just pick, but I won't pick too much. Some players think that hanging out with their girlfriend may be more helpful in the game than not. I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. I don't know. I think that's fun. But it's true, right? Like, that's not going to help you get any better. That's not going to help you. You know? But maybe if this is the one thing, okay? If this is the one thing that allows you to decompress, where you get to hang out and have that downtime, but then if you're the player that was hanging out with your girlfriend and you use the next hour after you were done hanging out to practice, and then you went to go see your coach for a private lesson, or you went with somebody else that, like, let's say it was a college ball player, and you were like, man, I need to go do some work with him because he's gonna elevate my performance. Then it's probably okay, right? Once again, I'm all about living life and for it to bear its fruit everywhere. I want everybody to have as much good vibes and feels as they can have with everything they do, because ultimately, that's what's gonna bring you back to this game better every single time. But it comes with taking just a little bit of dose of humility there. You cannot look at yourself in the mirror and say, you know, hey, I put all this time towards A, and now I'm not getting the most out of my performance. You can't expect that to be the theme, because it's never going to work that way. And so you have to surround yourself with good people. And you'll learn that if you do that, you will have a lot of growth. Another thing that's been spoken of, and I will say, I've said this for years, anytime I do a mentoring talk, or if I'm doing a motivational speech, I always talk about never reach down or out, only reach up. Okay? Never reach down. Okay? Reaching down to get information, reaching down to get practice, reaching down, it's not really going to help you as much. Reaching out is not going to really do it either. Okay? We always need to reach up. Okay? Reach up a level. Okay? Reach up to that next tier. Okay? You know, you all know what our hashtag here is at Northwood? Next level. Now, they didn't know I was that smart to even pull that out of the hat, but I'm just saying. Look, I know that. I know what the culture is. I know what it's going to. I'll be the first one to tell you that that next level is that theory. It's reaching up. Okay? We need to reach up with everything we do. So, here's the question. If you're slow, which, are you guys fast? I mean, have you seen anyone that's wowed you yet? Not yet. But you should reach up, okay? Get fast. Now, there's some kids, I believe, I've seen some quick players in here. We got some stuff we can work on. And you know what's crazy is I get more excited about speed than almost anything else. Because speed kills. I've said that for years. Speed kills. You know what the hardest thing to deal with as a pitcher and catcher or defensively? You got someone that is fast on the team that you're playing against, and they walk. They draw a walk. That now is not a guy at first. That's a guy at third. He turned a walk into a triple. You see that? Speed kills. Speed's going to make that happen every single time. So if you can find a way to make yourself faster, and if you can elevate yourself, then it's going to get even better. So if you're not attaching yourself with other athletes that are going to help you get faster, you have nowhere to grow with this. Do you know what else they do to create speed to chase? What other items or sports in life do they do that with? To maintain control to get speed. You ever guys watch dog race? You ever see the rabbit that they put around the track? You ever see a pacer car? Right? NASCAR? You ever see it? Look, these things are designed to put something in front so you have something to go after. See that? Have anyone played football in here? How many times you line up to play football to see who's the fastest one out there? Does that happen at all? I know when I played some football growing up, when I played basketball, you don't play basketball in here? Have you ever lined up against your peers to see who's fastest in there? Some of you should have. If you've not, I'm going to ask the coaches why they ain't doing that. I'm going to ask them. I promise I'll ask Johnny Waters about 2 seconds. I know that man's a goat. He's the real deal, right? I want to know, why haven't you done that? Because I'm curious. I'm always wanting to know. You want to know. I want to see who's got speed. But I also want to put you next to somebody That's going to do what? It's going to challenge you. Have you ever noticed that when you go to race somebody and you know they're just a little bit faster than you, you go the extra step? You go the extra mile every single time that you have the ability to, excuse me, to look to the left and right of you to see where you're at. And your goal is to do what? Beat them. I want to beat them. That's the advantage of elevating, okay? When I talk about the elevation process, it's about putting yourself around others. It's going to push you to propel you further. One of my favorite things to do growing up, so now here's the story. I played a lot of basketball, okay? I played baseball and basketball. And in basketball, I love the fact that I would show up to the court before everybody. How many of y'all play basketball in here? You? All right, good. So check this out. What side is your dominant side? Your right or your left? Right? Left? Who else? Left? You know, what's crazy is I was not a switch hitter. Okay? Now he was a switch hitter. I never had a shot to develop my left side with a swing. I was never coached on it. I was never pushed for that. I stayed on the right. And every time I thought I could, you know what it looked like? It was an absolute disaster. Okay? It was a disaster. I can't swing it back from the left side to save a life of me. Right side, I got thump all day. I'll put a charge on the ball. But for my left side, I'm a zero. I'd be your worst teammate. I'm not even kidding. On the basketball court, what happened is that I went to go try out for, you guys call it AAU here, you know, so up in New York, it's a little different than that. We had some wicked, talented, like, church leagues, and a lot of them would then run 3-on-3s. You guys ever see N1 tournaments? I played in a few of those in the streets, okay? Those are some wild tournaments. There's kids out there that are more talented than any other NBA player you'll ever see. I mean, I'm telling you, from the streets of New York, there's some real basketball players. And what's crazy is I got cut from this one church team. I went out there, I'll never forget it, I was doing a tryout, and they had this one, you had to cross over in between metal chairs. And so I had a row of metal chairs down. So I came through, I crossed, boom, I came through, I crossed, boom, I came through, I crossed, the basketball hit the foot of the chair, it hit my leg, the ball got kicked, I screwed up the drill across over there, I flipped, I landed on the chair in front of me, and guess where all the attention was? Oh yeah. Guess who didn't make the team? Yeah, I didn't make it. It wasn't that I was a worse player than some of those other guys that made it. What it was, I screwed up. I made a huge error and a mistake in that trial. That whole very next year, okay? The whole very next year, I went on to work on what was going to hurt me, which was my left side. So I woke up before everybody else. I took my hoodie, I put it on, I put my right hand behind my body, and I started working. I worked on my dribbling first, and I worked on my shot. Then I worked on driving and going up and laying up. I worked from down, from up, I worked everything. I worked on the corners, I worked on my free throw. I did them all with my left side. After 2 months of not stop doing that, when everybody came back out, we were doing some summer league, summer ball stuff for basketball, everybody was like, dude, what happened? Like, you're a 10 times different player. And I was like, I just get my right arm behind my back and I started working my weakness. That's all it was. That's all I did. And they pretty much were all like, man, like, totally different player. Next 3-on-3 that came out, me and my group, we won. Which actually one of the guys still plays semi-pro basketball. He plays out in Colorado. Kid's a stud. His dad actually worked for the NBA. And so, really good basketball families. But it was all because of that work that had to go in my weakness. And over time, I had to learn how to control myself totally different. Well, then when I got to the court, and now was playing against guys that were way bigger and way better than me in certain circumstances, that was my time to turn my dial up all the way. You see that? My surrounding got way more intense. I turned it up all the way through. That's just going to make you a really good player. Okay? Now I'm going to give you a little tip. as a coach, I know everyone's going to think I'm crazy because you've heard that about every time I spoke. But everyone's going to think I'm crazy because I have to schedule stuff that I'm going to drag you guys through. But now, does this make sense? Why I would drag you through a crazy schedule? Because I'm going to elevate you every single time by putting you in an environment that you're going to have to perform and grow. I'm not going to put you in an environment that you're just going to walk all over everybody. What are you going to get from that? Zero. It's a zero. We're going to learn how to compete and do the best under every ounce of pressure. We're going to learn how to do better, and we're going to do it the right way. That's the difference of what we're going to do every single day. But it's going to start by, once again, right? We worked on a lot of these different things, right? We talked about it not being a hobby. See that? We talked about how to tune our brains. We talked about how we need to have the right schedule. Now we're talking about surrounding ourselves with the right people that's going to bring us up. You've got probably one of the best coaching staffs you will ever have in this thing. I'm so excited that this coaching staff came together. Some of the best coaches you'll ever have the pleasure of playing for. But you have to be sponges and you have to get around us as much as possible. We need you to come around us as much as possible. We don't need to do anything else but that. Okay? If we can surround you with as much good stuff as possible, you're going to get better through this experience. But we got to keep working together, we got to stay together, and we got to keep bringing it up higher. And the talent is going to show. And what do you think other players are going to want to do from other schools? They're going to want to come here. And they're going to want to start playing here because then it's going to be like, man, these guys are good. That's what happens. That's a good place to be. I'm sure everybody wants that, right? Everyone would like to see that one other player come over that's talented that they want to play with. You want to be around good players, do you not? That's the elevation process. Don't allow guilty by association to drag you through the ditch. Don't allow guilty by association to get you in trouble, put you in a bad spot that you can't grow out of. Don't allow it. You have a choice to get in the car. You see that? You have a choice to get in the car. You may not be the driver, okay? But you have a choice to get in the car. I keep it very real. Look, I grew up, once again, I grew up in New York. You know how many other problems that we had in my school? We had every problem you could imagine. One of the key ingredients behind a lot of that stuff is if you hang out with a bunch of people that are losers, you're going to become a... You hang out with a bunch of winners that work hard, you're going to become a... That's it. That's it. Surround yourself with people that will change your game forever. Everybody start doing that. Any questions?